All right, so we are back on the W.A.D.E Concept presented by the Ring Magazine. I am in North Carolina, taking a little bit of a trip before I get into a ton of boxing commentary later this month. But today I wanted to talk to you guys about the fight coming up on Saturday. The best prospect that the UK heavyweight scene has seen in a very long time. Moses Itauma is taking his biggest step up in competition. He's taking on Dillian Whyte in a fight that I think is getting looked at the wrong way, but can also be a launching point for the Moses Itauma era, if and only if he overcomes his biggest challenge. What do I mean? The breakdown. Let's go. All right, so like I said, Moses Itauma this Saturday in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, taking on Dillian Whyte. Dillian Whyte, who is, I think, what you would consider now, honestly, a bit of a gatekeeper at heavyweight. Not because he isn't top of the world talent, because he is, but he's 37 years old. He does have a couple losses. Is coming off a 4-fight win streak, though, and does have two wins over Derek Chisora, has a win over Joseph Parker, has beaten some big names at heavyweight, and has fought pretty much everyone at heavyweight outside of Usyk. So a tried, true test, and more than that, more than a test for Moses Itauma, a real top 5, top 10 guy at heavyweight that can test him and put him in position to be talked about as one of the best in the world, because the only people that have beaten Dillian Whyte, Povetkin, he avenged that loss. Anthony Joshua, who's looked at as one of the current generation's better UK heavyweights. Tyson Fury, probably this generation's best UK heavyweight. Those are the only 3 guys that have beaten Dillian Whyte. So Moses Itauma this Saturday has a chance to put himself, and we're going to talk about pushing him too far too quickly, but he's 20 years old, and he has a chance to put himself in the same conversation as an Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury, strictly off of this fight, not an entire body of work, not what they've done in their careers, not the titles they've held, but I am specifically talking about the level of boxer he can be and maybe already is at 20. And this fight is important for a ton of reasons. Number one, everyone is looking at this as Moses Itauma's coming out party, and it very well could be that. But let's not forget, again, Dillian Whyte, yes, he's 37. Yes, he has lost to the top level guys, but we still have question marks on what Moses Itauma can bring. I think he's the greatest talent I've seen at heavyweight in this generation, strictly at heavyweight. At his age, I haven't seen anything like it. The speed, the quickness, the precision, being able to punch forward and backward, being able to have power and finesse. He's got it all. He really does. It's just a matter of, does he have too much too soon? 20 years old, is he ready for this moment? Being compared by people like me to the likes of Tyson Fury, AJ, and they're pushing him like, you know, a Mike Tyson push when he won the heavyweight title at 21. So it's like, you're seeing a lot of this big time pressure for this young kid that we don't know if he's ready for that yet. We don't know how he deals with the limelight yet. This will be his first real step into that. And I told you guys this when Alexander Usyk just beat Daniel Dubois for the second time. I said the only guy I see in the division, no disrespect to Joseph Parker, no disrespect to Kabiel, the only guy I see in the division right now that potentially can give Alexander Usyk a bit of a problem in a couple of years, or maybe year and a half, whatever, is Moses Itauma. Strictly because of his skill set, his speed, his agility, his light feet, his power, his eyes, everything that I see with this kid. I'm trying not to get too excited, but he is the real deal. And the only problem is we're living in the unknown. We truly don't know what will happen when he keeps stepping up, because we've only seen what we've seen. We've only seen him go against guys that we think he should be. Again, only 20 years old. We haven't seen him fight past 6 rounds. He's only been scheduled to go 10 rounds. This one's scheduled for 12. So it's just that matter of the unknown where you want to be excited about a prospect in boxing, but you don't know just yet. But man, he passes the eye test with flying colors. But again, this is no walk in the park. And Dillian Whyte is known for playing those mind games. Look back to the Anthony Joshua fight and how he tried to get in AJ's head. It didn't work out for him very well, but he tried. And he had some success with it, at least in parts. I can remember watching that fight and watching him throw that freaking axe overhand over the ref. It was a spectacle, and I expect the same during this fight week. It's been a bit quiet so far, and I think that's the way Moses Itauma likes it. If I'm Dillian Whyte, I'm trying to pull out all the stops. Give this kid every mental game you have, because you want to test him. You're not there to lay down for the youngster. You look at Dillian Whyte in camp, and he's in shape. I mean, he is in shape. Kind of like, what are you back on that stuff shape? No, but he's in great shape. He's taking it very seriously, and obviously he's a bit of a more awkward guy as well to fight. Chopping hooks, big time power. That Derek Chisora knockout left hook, it left Derek Chisora flat. That's something, again, you know, boxing math doesn't always work, but that's something Usyk wasn't doing, you know what I mean? So it's not really the same comparison, but you get what I mean. It's a dangerous fight for Moses Itauma. This is what you could call a hype train derailer if Moses doesn't go out and take care of business. And you know, when we're on that subject, we talk about Moses' upbringing. I've been watching a lot of the zone in the day of the life camp stuff with Moses. He's talking about how, you know, when he started with Ben Davis, he didn't want to box. He didn't like boxing. And he had to, you know, fall back in love with it. And Ben brought him to that place. Fair play to Ben Davis. And, you know, he's been around a lot of the UK heavyweight scene, trained Joshua for the Dubois fight, trained Tyson Fury when he came out of retirement. There's definitely something that Ben Davison has that fighters attach themselves to mentally, right? He got Tyson Fury out of bed and got him ready for that Deontay Wilder trilogy when it looked like Tyson Fury was done for. I mean, completely done. And now you hear Moses Itauma talking about how, you know, Ben really brought him back for the love of the sport and really got him ingrained with the sport again. I just worry, you know, when I hear a 20-year-old talking about, I didn't love this, I didn't want to. It's like, you haven't even gotten to the hard part yet. You know, you haven't even gotten to the dance. And again, this was when he was younger and he ended up going and winning European gold medals and all this. But what happens when you get some? You know, what happens when you get to the top of the mountain? What satiates your hunger then? Because right now, the hunger is the same for everybody. It's chasing the gold. It's chasing glory. It's chasing legacy, right? And Frank and the boys over at Queensberry, they have really pushed him. You know, they've pushed him to the top of the heavyweight division with only 12 wins. And again, if he is to beat Dillian Whyte, it's only going to go up from there. Like, you can't go backward after that. Right? This is why, you know, some people wait before they give their prospect a high-level fight. But then again, we're in an era where prospects are taking high-level fights sooner and sooner, and I love it because there is no ducking, no dodging, no let's pad your stats, let's get you experience, when in reality, the best experience is iron sharpening iron in a fight. Yeah, that may mean dire consequences, but the test, if you're able to come through it, will make you better. Mike Tyson fought upwards of what, like 10 times, 12 times in 1 year at one point? Like, he was getting experience by going in there, and he fought former Olympians and all this, so I like the trajectory they're on. I wonder. I even saw him talking about Simon Jordan, how, you know, it's unbearable listening to Simon Jordan. It does his head in, talking about Moses Itauma. Again, he's 20 years old and now starting to get a taste of the other stuff, right? Not inside the ropes boxing, the media scrutiny, like I said, the bright lights, potentially the fame that comes out of this. How do you handle it? We have seen time and time again boxers that aren't necessarily ready for that moment yet, too soon. Mike Tyson, others that, even Tyson Fury to a degree, others that grasp that goal and then go, well, what else is there? This was it. Let's go party. Or let's go do something else with my life. And it spirals down. And I may be reading too much into that. I just, you know, I want to see a high-level prospect in boxing. I want to see that next wave. And I think this is the time for, especially for UK boxing, which they don't have. I think they have one world champion right now. Or maybe they don't, which is rare for the UK. I mean, that's their second biggest sport. They've dominated, it feels like, the higher weight classes and even some of the lower ones in the last, 5 to 10 years. Where America's starting to have that 130 to, 154 division kind of locked down. But now, without a UK world champion, it does feel like the hopes and dreams of the next generation kind of rest on Moses Itauma's shoulders. A lot of pressure. It really is. We'll see how he deals with it this Saturday. And I'm excited. I'm excited to see that because it's put up or shut up time. As much as I say, let's not put too much on the kid. He's only 20 years old. Let's not, let's move him. You can't really do that, especially when you're talking like Frank and Queensberry people are about him being the next great heavyweight. I think Frank had a quote somewhere where he said Moses Itauma was going to have the star power of a LeBron James or a Tiger Woods or somebody like that. And that's, as an American, I don't know how it is for Ronaldo or Messi, but when you're talking about those type of names, that is pressure of the highest order. That's LeBron James coming out of high school and being on Sports Illustrated with the words, the chosen one, above his head, right? That is being the next Michael Jordan. That is Tiger Woods at I think it was the US Open in 2001 with the fist pump, and he's the newest thing. That kind of pressure can break people. I've seen it happen in combat sports way too many times. How many boxing prospects have we seen? Prospects jump up a little too soon, and unfortunately they pay for it with their career. So it's a fine line, but if we're going to go that route, which again, Queensberry's doing, he's doing, Frank Warren's doing, everybody's talking about it, then you also have to accept that if he is to win this fight, that we have to talk about him like he is a world level contender for the heavyweight championship. I don't think he's the #1 guy because that goes to Joseph Park. Kabiel's probably somewhere in there as well. And Usyk, you know, he's 38. He says he's just getting started, so we'll see how many more defenses. But I think, again, if Moses Itauma can beat Dillian Whyte, I think he's a year and a half away, maybe 1 or 2 more fights away from a shot at the heavyweight championship of the world. And you're talking about a guy that at that time will be 21, maybe 22, which is fucking insane. But that's the way we have to operate based on what's being said about him, based on them jumping him up this quickly in competition, and based on this fight with Dillian Whyte. Now, as far as the fight itself goes, you're hearing Moses Itauma say, we're probably going to get this done in round 2 or 3. And again, saying that when you're about to fight Dillian Whyte is crazy to me. It's nuts because he's only lost to the top level guys. And yes, they've been my knockout, but still, that's a big statement for a 20-year-old, for a 12-0 guy. But his skills pay the bills. But it's not his words that are making the statement, y'all. It's his skills that are paying the bills. They're the things doing the talking, and his confidence rises from the fact that he is truly a nasty, nasty southpaw. Like I talked about earlier, the speed, the shot selection, the setups, the feints, by the way. Again, I go on and on about Tyson Fury and his feints and how it sets up everything he has. And he's 6'9", and he can kind of get away with feinting with his hands down and touching you from the outside. Moses Itauma, he'll feint you to drop the bomb on your ass. And I'm talking left hand, and then that lead hook. His right hand out of southpaw, that lead hook is dirty work. His last fight, he touched old boy on the chin, bow, and had him doing a freaking Tinkerbell Cinderella dance, a pirouette and fall to the ground. It was nasty. Scooted on the ground a couple times for good measure like he was in Stomp the Yard. So that right there is special. Timing, execution, I think that will be the difference. Again, the big question marks, what does he look like if this fight gets pushed into rounds 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, potentially? Championship rounds. Dillian Whyte can get into that zombie mode, start walking forward, just pressure in your face, hit you with those body punches, make you feel a little bit of that. And again, I'm not sleeping on Dillian Whyte at all in this fight. Watching him train, looking how trim he is, he's going to show up in shape and ready to shut down this hype train, which is why when I sit here and predict, I don't know if I'm going to go, oh yeah, Moses Itauma, next generation golden era heavyweight of the UK, is going to knock him out in 2 rounds. I don't know about that. I think there's a possibility because of how sharp this kid is. I mean, he's like a freaking razor blade with boxing gloves on. But Dillian Whyte can make this a tough fight for him. And if I'm a fan looking at this and asking myself, what do I want to see? Sure, I want to see Moses Itauma go in and shut the show down, right? Completely lights out. We have a new prospect. He's on the scene. Not even just a prospect. We have a new contender at heavyweight if he goes in and completely flatlines Dillian Whyte. But as somebody that looks forward to seeing how he grows over the next 5 to 10 years, I'm kind of going, man, he may need a little bit of a welcome to the show moment in this fight. And I don't want to wish a tough fight on anyone or whatever, but that may be what we're getting here, right? We may get a Dillian Whyte that's like, hey, listen, all that other stuff's cool. All these other TKOs, great. I'm different. You've gotten to the level that matches your own now. But saying all that, I just think this kid is special. I do. I think he is for a heavyweight, the combination of power and speed, the feints, the timing, the setup, the execution. I don't know if I mean, Usyk is the guy that you remind you of, like, all those things I said at the highest level. He's the guy that you think of when I'm like, who's the best at that? But now you're looking at a kid that's 20 years old, has those same traits to a degree, and let's see if it carries to the next level. Let's see if it carries to the world level like it has at every other level he's ever been at. So I'm just going to say it. The eye test tells me that Moses Itauma is going to knock out Dillian Whyte. And honestly, I think it is going to be early. I do. I think just because it's so hard to get used to his speed and timing early on. If you can slow him down, maybe, but I haven't seen him slow down yet, right? I haven't seen him really show any scratches, any dents, anything like that in the arm. But if you can show him, you can get up here with a kid that's already questioned himself a couple different times before he got to the dance, before he got to the pro scene, then maybe we will see him struggle. Maybe we will see a flaw in the golden child, right? But as of right now, I'm taking Moses Itauma. I don't think it'll be a first round knockout, but I think that second, third that he predicted might be spot on. I'll say 4th. I'll give it the 4th round. Maybe he hurts Dillian Whyte in that third, finally finds an opening right after a bit of a chess game to start, or a bit of a slow start, as Dillian wants to come out, get in his face, be aggressive, and try to take control of the fight. And just the issue of being a little too aggressive with a guy that can box on the front foot and walk you down, but also probably is better as a sniper off the back foot. You get a little too aggressive, you overreach, overextend, and then Moses Itauma's there to bang the left hand and the right hook over the top. That's the way I see this going. I see him using Dillian Whyte as a vehicle to showcase the announcement that Moses Itauma has arrived on the heavyweight world scene and is a legit contender for the world title at 20 years old. Now, again, does he need a couple more fights? Sure, because we have contenders lined up and people that have already showcased what he's trying to do on Saturday. But the eye test speaks loud. And if you can go in and beat a guy in Dillian Whyte, who already has a win over Joseph Parker, who's the #1 contender right now for Usyk's belts, has already beaten high-level guys that Usyk has fought, and that holds a bit of gravitas in the heavyweight scene. Like I said, Caball's there, and he should potentially get his shot as well. But Moses Itauma on Saturday can prove he's the real deal, because people are watching right now, and there's definitely a lot of hope, and a lot of hopefully, and maybe, and I think he will be. But on Saturday, he has the opportunity to turn that maybe into absolute. Does he get it done? I'm saying yes, by knockout, 4th round, but you guys let me know in the comments below. A game Dillian Whyte, who's trained his ass off. It may not be that easy, but in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, this Saturday, Moses Itauma versus Dillian Whyte. What happens? I don't have those answers, but guess we'll find out.